Spring is getting closer and closer, and maybe you want flowers on your property, in your flower bed around the house, but you're not one of these individuals who goes and plants a whole bunch of bulbs in the fall. You want to have flowers that pop up in the spring.
Just like an annual.
Annual, yeah.
I have a situation.
You have a situation.
I like flowers.
You like flowers. There's nothing wrong with liking flowers.
But I like vegetables too.
Right. Okay.
And I like sunflowers.
Okay.
Is that a vegetable?
Sure, why not? So we're going to go over 7 flowers in which you can plant either based on where you're at right now, either start them indoors in a root maker's tray or a grow bag, or direct sow them outside, and then when the time comes, they'll pop up, or that type of thing. So we're going to go over 7 of them. Now there's about 75 or 80 different things here, but we're going to go over some of the ones that Holly enjoys.
Well, and just in general, these are good options. And also, if you forget to plant the seed, you can buy the starts, most of these, at any garden center. So if you're like, I don't have seeds, or I forgot, or whatever, you can find the starts. And
with a couple of these, you can dig them up in the fall, bring them inside, and keep them in your window, and then kind of turn them into a perennial.
Right. Yes, if that's something you want to do. But these are more for like annual, whatever.
Right. Low maintenance, pretty flowers. Mm-hmm. Look at them, be happy. So here we go.
So the first one is Pansies and Violas. I know I like violas for sure. We grow them on our little porch deck thing every year. And so those are grown as annual. So they can become, once it gets hot out, once it gets warmer, so like into July, they kind of don't do as well. But if you keep them in shade, they do better. So that's a shade flower. But the heat of the summer will kind of, they're kind of sensitive. But they can survive a mild freeze or even a frost. So if you buy them from the garden center and maybe you have a freeze or a frost or something, a light frost.
You put them in a little early?
Yeah, you put them in a little early, you get excited. So they are typically the first annual that you're going to have in the spring.
Then we have Impatiens.
Yes, and those are the ones that can be perennial in zones 10 to 11.
And they can get they can grow from 6 inches to 2 foot tall. So with any of these flowers, like if you're going to do a flower bed, you want to know the height so you know how to stagger the planting, which means the tallest ones in the back, and then progressively work your way down. Like the school picture, the tall people in the back type of thing.
That's if that's what you want to do.
Well, you're going to shade out some of the pretty flowers if you've got a big, tall 3 foot flower in front of a 6 inch flower.
Right. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, or you could just be like chaos.
Yeah, true.
So impatiens are nice. They attract birds. So if you like birds in your garden, that's a good thing. They like more of like a loamy soil, so a little bit of looser, maybe sandy, not necessarily sandier, but a little bit sandier. But they'll grow pretty much anywhere. They don't want to be waterlogged, so keep that in mind. Maybe if you have a low-lying area in your garden that might get a little bit mucky, don't put your impatiens there. And they're another partial or full shade plant, so they like the shade.
Right. Next one is Cosmos. We've got they can do a lot of different things. They can get 18 to 60 inches tall, so 1.5 to 5 foot tall, give or take. Bloom in the spring through summer into fall, so that's good. Kind of a full spectrum there.
They like the full sun,
and they grow quickly
from seed. So,
and they help repel mosquitoes. So that might be something. That's Cosmos. They help repel mosquitoes. Might be something you want to look into.
Yeah.
And full sun can be grown in full sun. So when we say full sun, we mean 8+ hours. But I would guess that some of these could tolerate 6 to 7 hours if you don't have that availability there.
Right. So morning glories, this is another one that I like because it vines.
Yeah, it's a vine. It's a vine, so you got to be careful with this one.
Right. So like if you want to grow something, if you grow sunflowers, you want to grow something with the sunflowers. If you grow morning glories, they're going to climb up the sunflowers. So that's a good option, and we've kind of done that before. They bloom late summer, early fall, so they're going to bloom with the sunflowers as well. And they self-sow. So like if you plant them in an area, they might continue to come back year after year.
And with the morning glories, especially, the morning glories, Prefer moderate to fertile, well-draining soil. Now, each flower, based on the characteristics, yes or no, based on how much water you want to water. Like the cosmos, they like water. They like to be watered well, but they like to go through a dry cycle before they get watered again. Kind of like herbs. Some herbs, like rosemary, likes that wet, completely dry, and then wet, because otherwise you can get root rot.
Right, but if you're planting outside, sometimes
It's beyond your control to a certain, yeah. Nasturtiums.
Yeah, those are an edible flower. Even the leaves are edible, so that's something that's kind of cool about them. Those are quick growing. They like the full sun. Try not to overwater them. And
8 to 10 feet tall.
They bloom. Yeah, they bloom. They bloom for a while from May until September. So if you want like a full summer flower, it's a good option. Here's Joey's favorite.
Geraniums. We recently did a video on our YouTube channel as well as our website propagating a white geranium that we had purchased last year from our local independent garden center, and it's worked very well. And we also propagated a red geranium, in which we've had hanging in the window for 5+ years. So we've done both of those, and everything took. There was no failure on that whatsoever.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
And these can grow 3 to 24 inches tall. However, now, when we have them in the window over the winter, they can grow about 6 foot tall.
It got a little out of control.
We cut it back, and those cuttings is what we use to propagate the additional plants now that we have.
If you're looking for an easy flower to grow that wants to grow, a geranium is exactly.
And there's all different colors, too.
Yeah,
White, red, pink, lavender, purple, magenta, rose, and I'm sure they're maneuvering and morphing different colors in each year.
I want a purple geranium.
They have them available. We'll get you one.
All right.
Snapdragons.
Snapdragons are cool. They come in a lot of different colors, and that's what a lot of people like about them, because they can fill in or use them for certain colors.
And they can be a perennial in zones 5 through 10. I know there's some places over there in the Minneapolis area that listens to us that are in zone 4, so you would be pushing the border. Even 5 is pushing the border on some of these. When we say border pushing, each plant is designed to grow in a certain growing zone. So if you have a peach tree, for example, and I'm just pulling a name out, and it's capable of growing in a zone from 5 to 9. If you're in a zone 5, you're still in borderline. If you're in zone 6 and you're growing a tree that's capable of growing a zone cooler than yours, you're pretty much never going to lose that tree, most likely. But if it's 5 and you're in 5, going to be kind of a touch and go in certain years.
Right.
So snapdragons can grow 6 to 15 inches tall.
And those are full sun.
Bloom from spring to fall. Cool summer growing conditions is what they require. So you can kind of put those in strategic locations. And then we have marigolds.
I always think of my grandparents when I think of marigolds. They always had them in their yard. And just so you know, people say that marigolds will stop bunnies, and
they will stop the bunnies while they eat the marigolds and then progress into the garden to eat your beans and your other stuff.
They stall them for about 5 seconds.
Right. Now, there is, I have heard, and I don't know if this is accurate, so here we go, that there's a European type of marigold that does stop the rabbits, and the American kind does not. I don't know how much validity is behind that, but I have heard such stories.
Right. But if you go to your local garden center, pick up a pack of marigolds, they're not going to necessarily be the right ones.
True.
But the cool thing with marigolds is you have to deadhead them, which means you have to take the blooms off when they're looking kind of meh, and then they're going to continue to be prolific throughout the summer. That's
called deadheading, and that's what you need to do in order to get these things to...
Especially, but with marigolds.
Right.
Yeah. That really helps them produce beautiful blooms for you.
Think of flowers like you do vegetables, like your tomatoes, your eggplants, your cucumbers. If you keep picking the dead flower heads off, they're going to keep producing for you, just like cucumbers and tomatoes. And beans, if you leave that fruit and the beans on the pod, on the vine, and never harvest them, that plant shuts down. They produce the seeds and they are done. So continue to harvest on the fruits and vegetables in order to get the plant keep producing. Same thing with the flowers, or specific flowers, in this instance, the marigolds, so they keep producing buds and blooms all season long.
Right.
So we've talked about flowers, we talk about vegetables, but what about the meat? There's some of you that enjoy a good steak or a good hamburger, and some of you enjoy processing that particular cut all by yourself, and Walton's Incorporated has those tools for you.
Yeah, we know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At waltonsinc.com, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, any other meat product your way, delicious burgers, and then you can even season your vegetables.
They have good seasoning.
They have really good seasoning, and it's to your standards. So Walter's created meatgistics.com. It's an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have a full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's is everything but the meat. Again, that's Walton's Inc., waltonsinc.com.
Hey there, gardeners. Thanks for checking out this segment of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. If you like what you've seen, you can search through the channel and find full in-studio videos of the entire show. If you want to go another route, you can search for it on your favorite podcast platform by searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show or the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show, and you can download it and take it with you. You can check out all past seasons at our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, under the radio tabs at the top of the page. We thank you for joining us. We hope you've learned and enjoyed the show, the segment, and we'll see you next time.